solving equations with fractions that take 3 or more steps. So we have our familiar rules on the right hand side, and we will use these to help us solve such a question. So let's write an example. So here, x over 3 plus 4 over 3 equals to minus 3 over 2x plus 19 over 6. Now we want to move all the x's on one side and all the numbers on the other side. So we have x's on both sides here. Now we want to move them in a way so that we don't end up with a negative. So we look at the sign. So here's a plus, and this is a minus. So we want to get rid of the minus. So we can use the rules to look at the opposite. So here it's plus 3 over 2. And we have to apply that on both sides. And then we simplify. So here we need to do a third plus 3 over 2. The 1 coming from in front of the x. Now we can use the common denominator method or cross bottom. So we'll use cross bottom in this case. So 1 times 2 is 2 plus 3 times 3, which is 9, all over the bottom, which is 3 times 2, which is 6. This is equal to 11 over 6. So we can write the next line, which is 11x over 6. Notice I put the x back in because here I was just dealing with the numbers in front of the x's, so the coefficients. So 11 over 6x plus 4 over 3, that doesn't change, equals minus 3 over 2x plus 3 over 2x cancels, and then we got plus 19 over 6. So now the x is on the left hand side. Furthest away is your plus 4/3. Using our rules, we've got plus going to a minus, so we apply minus 4/3 on both sides. We then simplify. So we have 11 over 6x plus 4/3 minus 4/3 cancel, and we're left with equals 19 over 6 minus 4/3. So we'll write this out over on the side here. Now for this one we'll use common denominator method. So we can multiply the top by 2 and the bottom by 2, and that's left with 19 over 6 minus 8 over 6. As the denominators are the same, we can just subtract the top. 19 minus 8 is 11 over 6. So this becomes 11 over 6. So now in front of the x we have 11 over 6, which we want to get rid of. Now this is the same as 11 over 6 times x, so we're going to apply divide by 11 over 6 on both sides. 11 over 6 divided by 11 over 6 is 1, so it's just x equals 11 over 6 divided by 11 over 6, which is 1 also. So x equals 1 in this case. Let's look at another example. X over 2 plus 9 over 2 equals to x plus 8. So again, we have the x's on both sides. We look at the signs of both, so here they're positives. Now, using our rules, we know we need to subtract from both sides. And this is effectively a half x, and this is 1x. So from this, we know that we need to subtract the half x from both sides, so that we end up with a positive. So we do minus a half x minus a half x. So then we simplify. So x over 2 minus the x over 2 is 0. We're left with 9 over 2. 1x minus a half x, so 1 minus a half. We can do this on the side. So 1 minus a half. Well, 1 is the same as 1 over 1. We can multiply top and bottom by 2 to get a common denominator. So we're left with 2 over 2 minus a half, which is left with just a half. So here we have x over 2 or 1x over 2, depending on how you prefer to write it. We would suggest not putting the 1 in front, as x on its own is 1x, then plus 8. Now the x here is on the right hand side, the plus 8 is furthest away, and then we apply the opposite to both sides, so that's minus 8 in this case. Now 9 over 2 minus 8 is, so we can treat the 8 as over 1. So 9 over 2 minus 8 over 1, we can multiply the second fraction by 2 to get the common denominator. So this is 9 over 2 minus 16 over 2. And this simplifies to 9 take away 16 is minus 7 all over 2. So we have minus 7 over 2 equals x over 2. Now we have the 2 that we want to get rid of, which is effectively a divide 2. So we know we're going to use this rule here. So we need to multiply both sides by 2 times 2 and times 2. So we're left with minus 7 equals x, as the 2's cancel on both sides. Let's look at another example. X over 4 plus 5 over 2 equal to x plus 1. So again, we have x's on both sides. They are positive. So we want to get rid of one of them, and so that our answer is positive, just so that positives are easier to work with. So here we have a quarter, and this is 1. So to subtract this, we need to subtract the x over 4 on both sides, otherwise we'll end up with a negative. We then simplify. So the first x over 4 minus x over 4, that cancels to be 0. So it's 5 over 2 equals 1x minus x over 4. So here, 1 minus a quarter is 3/4. Now how did we do that? We can say the 1 is over 1 and multiply the top and bottom by 4, and then you subtract. So 4 times 1 is 4, 4 take away 1 is 3, and then the denominator is the same, so it's just 4. So here we've got 3 over 4, 3/4 x, and then the plus 1 stays as it is. Now the x here is on the right hand side, plus 1 is furthest away, so we need to do a minus 1. Now minus 1, using the first rule here. So we have 5 over 2 minus 1. Now we can say this is 1 over 1 times top and bottom by 2 to get a common denominator, and we're left with 5 take away 2 all over common denominator, which is 2, so we have 3 over 2. So the next line becomes 3 over 2 equal to 3 over 4x. The next thing we want to get rid of is your 3/4. Now this is multiplying the x, so the opposite operation will be a divide, so we need to divide both sides by 3/4. So we want to do 3 over 2 divided by 3/4, for which we will use keep, flip, change rule. So keep the first one, flip the second one, and change the sign to a times. Then we multiply top and bottom, or we can see that we can cancel this 3 with this 3, so we're left with 1 in each case, and cancel the 4 with the 2, we're left with the 2 at the top and 1. So this simplifies to 2. So the answer here is 2 equals 3/4 divided by 3/4 is 1, so it's just x. So 2 equals x. Let's look at another example. X over 2 plus 1 equals to minus x minus a half. So here again we have x's on both sides, but we want to get rid of the negatives. So this is a positive, this is a negative, so we want to get rid of the minus x. So we're going to apply the opposite. So that's this rule here. So plus x on both sides. We then simplify. So now we have a half plus 1 from this side here. Now 1 can be treated as 1 over 1. Now multiply the top and bottom by 2 to get a common denominator. So that's a half plus 2 over 2. This simplifies to 3 with the 1 plus 2 over the common denominator, which is 2. So here this becomes 3 over 2x plus 1 equal to minus x plus x is 0 minus a half. Now here the x is on the left hand side, plus 1 is furthest away. So using this rule here, minus 1 on both sides, and we simplify. So this is 3 over 2x, 1 minus 1 is 0, and minus a half minus 1. We'll do over here, so minus a half minus 1. Now 1 is the same as 1 over 1. Multiply top and bottom by 2. That gives us minus 1 a half minus 2 over 2, which simplifies to minus 3 over 2. As a minus 1 minus 2 is minus 3 over 2. Now we want to get rid of the 3 over 2. Now this is multiplying, so we need to divide both sides by 3 over 2. So 3 over 2 divided by 3 over 2 is just 1, so that becomes x equals minus 3 over 2 divided by 3 over 2. Now this simplifies to minus 1, as it's just the same number divided by itself, so that becomes 1, and minus and a plus make a minus. You could also use a keep, flip, change and get to the same answer as minus 1.
You can download the application on Google Play or App Store, and you can visit our website mathslegends.co.uk.